We got in the car and started driving to North Ogden, and I was feeling contractions on the way, but they weren't consistent intensities. But I was timing them also, and I'm like, well, the timing's consistent though. So when I got there to my mom's, I thought, well, I'll get in a shower and try and relax. If they're Braxton Hicks, they'll go away. Well, they didn't relax. And since she was the only adult home with all the kids, I'm like, well, I have to go to the hospital. My labors go fast. And so there was no waiting for anybody to come, so I started driving. And I was hoping I would make it, but then my water broke, and so I called dispatch.
Another westbound. I'm going to try to make it to the Willard. They find the exit. Okay, where are you now? I just... Oh, gosh. Sorry, where are you? Well, I'm about 2 miles. You're about 2 miles from the exit? Yeah. Okay. Are you driving? Yeah, I'm driving. You know, the other lane I need to push. Okay. You're driving right now? Yeah, okay. Get over on the other side, so I can go over. I want you to pull over. Okay, I'm going to get a car yet. Hold on. Let me... Tell me we're going to be clear so I can get out right to you. It's blue, Hyundai Mantua, we'll have a 6, we'll have a triple 2006 Mariah Ostler, I let mile post 356, you're at 356 kilometers stepping. VEC like 6 or I. Okay, go ahead and pull over just a minute, you're not going to hear me, I'm still with you, but don't hang up, okay?
My water broke. I was in the fast lane, and so I was trying to get over to the slow lane so I could pull over to the side, but cars wouldn't let me over. I was actually needing to push for about 1.5 miles before I actually got stopped on the side of the road.
I thought it was actually somebody calling in like a traffic problem or a reckless driver or something like that. She said she was trying to make it to the next exit, so I thought maybe she was going to break down. And then she said my water broke, and so clearly we had some kind of childbirth going on. And then I was concerned because it sounded like she was the driver. So obviously the first issue is that we need to get her off the road so she is not trying to deliver a baby while driving, which is kind of what was happening. So it was kind of nerve-wracking that way, but really, really cool. And then, of course, there's another dispatcher in there, and you don't hear when we mute our line. And I'm telling her we need help going right now, even before the ambulance was paged or anything, because we obviously needed to get someone to her quickly. We just knew that was going to happen. There was going to be a baby on the side of the freeway right then.
I think the most frustrating part of this was to get to this point because of the cable barriers. We had to drive by the patient first, go 2 miles down the road to the nearest turnaround and come back. And that was probably the most frustrating point, is to see the lady in that type of a situation. No, you can't stop. You got to go down and turn around. We just arrived on minute 42, and the baby is delivered at 43 and 50 seconds. So 1 minute and 20 seconds, the baby will come.
She was laying back in the seat and said that the baby was coming, and so I put on my gloves and asked for some scissors, and we went from there as far as, because I got there about 30 seconds, I'm guessing, before Trooper Carr did, and tried to see what I could do to help her out and everything, and get some information from her. And Trooper Carr arrived to help out, and we was going to try and move her so we had a better position to deliver the baby. I went around the other side of the vehicle, and as I got there, she said it was crowning, and we assisted her with that. Trooper Carr got a blanket put under her and the baby just as the head was delivered.
30 seconds, okay.
stayed calm, and I'm like, well, if I deliver on my own, I deliver on my own. If somebody gets here, somebody gets here. The baby's here, so.
We couldn't hear the baby cry on the phone. We heard Josh say that the baby's crying good. When the officers got there, they didn't hang up the phone, so we just stayed on the line and listened to it go all the way through. So it was really, really cool to hear that.
From the time I got there to the time the baby came out was about 1 minute and 30 seconds. So I had just enough time to get my sterile gloves on and get a sterile sheet out right underneath the child's head. He had dilated to a 10, so he had already fully dilated, and the eyebrows hadn't quite come out yet. So I knew I had just a second more, so I got that sterile sheet right underneath him, so he wasn't gonna come out somewhere clean, and he came right out in my hands and just was right there. It was very emotional. Probably next to my own children's birth was probably a very satisfying moment in my career. They tell us to be prepared to take a life and give life, and thank goodness this is the one of the two that I was grateful that I had the opportunity to do. And I never expected, and to train for it, there is no training. They tell you how to do it, but this is the only way you're going to learn is doing it. So.